Starting webinar. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Adventure Cycling's webinar, where you get to meet adventure cycling leadership, as well as our new executive director, Andy Williamson. Before I dive in too much into the content, we're just going to let people trickle in for a few minutes, make sure that people are able to hear the most important stuff that we're going to be talking about today. I appreciate all of you participating in this, being engaged with the organization. It's super important, and I'm so glad that you're here. If you'd like to, while we're waiting, throw into the chat where you're zooming in from today. I love to see all the different places. Reminds me of all the places I've been and bike traveled myself, and it's just brings up great memories, and love to see where you all are from. While we're also waiting, I could introduce myself. I'm Jessica Zeffers. You might know me from the member newsletter. I write that, and you all get to hear a little bit about my life sometimes. It sent this Wednesday, and I shared a really fun story about how I just got off the Katy Trail, a week-long bike trip with my parents, and it was their very first time riding a bike trip, and they were really nervous, especially about our long day, which ended up being about 49 miles into Jefferson City. But they loved it. I mean, they loved it. They loved every part about it. They were just full of joy, and we came away with some really funny stories. So if you didn't see the member newsletter on Wednesday and you want to hear a little bit more about that Katy Trail trip and see a few photos that I shared, please make sure that one, your membership is current, two, that you're subscribed to the member newsletter by checking your communications preferences. And also, we notice like sometimes those newsletters go to people's promotion folders or their spam folders. So just check those folders for the member newsletter that's sent on Wednesday, and accept Adventure Cycling as a safe sender to go to your inbox, and you'll be sure to get those next time. So thanks again for everybody being here, for tuning in. We've got a lot of people telling us in where they're from, and people from all over the country. Love to see it. Hey, Sarah, zooming in from Missoula, Montana. Yeah, all the way out to Hawaii, California, Massachusetts, all over the country. And we have about 118 participants so far. So thanks for coming in and engaging with us today. I really appreciate it. Okay, I think I have waxed poetic for long enough. I think we could probably get started. I just want to start with a few introductions and kind of talk about the purpose of this webinar, as well as like the process and a little key notes. So we're here today, one, to introduce Andy, who's our new executive director, and hear from him a little bit. We're also here to hear from John McDermott, who's going to give us, start us off with a state of the organization. And Nikki, John is our board chair. So thank you, John, for being here. Like I said, I'm Jessica Zeffers. I'm your VP of Communications and Marketing, and I also write your member newsletter. And we also have today here our VP of Operations and Programs, Nikki Bailey, who will be, she and I will kind of be collaborating to talk about our 50th anniversary events more toward the end of the webinar. And we're also going to finish it off with a question and answer session. So a couple of notes about the question and answer. Please put those in the Q&A feature. Put your questions in the Q&A feature of Zoom rather than the chat. It's helpful for us to be able to separate those. Then we can see the questions very clearly. You can upvote questions. You can comment on people's questions. That way we can really see the themes that are rising to the top. It's super helpful. Okay, I think the that that's all my notes. Great. Okay, I want to give you a brief bio about Andy, and then I'm going to hand it off to John. So Andy Williamson brings decades of experience of advancing cycling, outdoor recreation, community development initiatives at both like local, regional, and national levels. Before joining Adventure Cycling, Andy served as the Director of Outdoor Economic Development for the Smith Outdoor Economic Development Collaborative at West Virginia University. And there he spearheaded infrastructure development, capacity building training, and statewide outdoor economy initiatives. Earlier than that, Andy supported Western North Carolina as the Made X Mountains Director and Executive Director of the Outdoor Gear Builders of Western North Carolina. And he held roles as Director of Programs for the International Mountain Bicycling Association, also known as IMBA, and a principal at Active Strategies, which is a consultancy that partnered with nonprofits, municipalities, and businesses to grow outdoor recreation economies and support trail-based tourism across the US. Andy and his family live in Northwest Arkansas, and we are stoked, so excited to have him leading our team and our impact. Okay, thank you. Before we meet Andy further, I'd like to hand it over to John, our board chair, to tell us a little bit more about the state of the organization.
Great, thanks, Jess. Hi, I'm John McDermott. I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico. That's the background behind me. I joined the ACA board in January of 2024, and I've been your board chair since January of 25. The background here on my Zoom screen is intentional. I actually came to adventure cycling because I got lost right in those mountains, riding the Great Divide route, or at least a portion of it here. I didn't have an adventure cycling map. That was the problem. When I went back and wrote it later, Adventure Cycling supplied everything that I needed. And I said, this is a great organization. I'd love to be involved. A shout out to my friend Nat from Albuquerque, who I see is on the call today, who actually was the inspiration to my originally trying this portion of the Great Divide. Great. I'm going to go through a bunch of kind of technical stuff here today, so you'll excuse me if I'm reading from a script, but we'll get into some Q&A here in a minute. First, a warm welcome to Andy Williamson. As Jess has shared with you, Andy, brings a tremendous background to ACA. He's one of us. He's an adventurer, a bicyclist. He's a leader. He's a believer in how people having adventures on bikes change lives. And I think that's really at the heart of what ACA is. This is Andy's first week. And we have thrown Andy in at the deep end. And we are really, really delighted that we, I think, are on our way back to restoring the kind of ACA that we want to be, and I think that you want us to be. So first, a couple of just kind of philosophical thoughts about ACA and the cycling community before we dive in. We're entering our 50th year. And for me, I think that ACA as a concept and an organization is more relevant today than any time in our history. And in fact, I think it's really important that we're relevant at this point in our history. This is an important time for people to get off screens and to get on bikes and have adventures and activities that bring us closer together as people and as human beings. Think of how the community has changed in 50 years. There are now literally hundreds of thousands of documented routes on every continent, and they're available to navigate digitally or on analog maps. We have detailed points of interest. You're not going to run out of water on the Great Divide with an ACA map. We have resources identified along the way. We have people who are riding road bikes. We have gravel bikes. We have mountain bikes. We have e-bikes. We have trails, we have gravel paths, we have pavement, we have protected pathways. We have so many more things than we had 50 years ago. It really is a transformed environment in which we are riding today. We also have experiences that have really diversified over the years from ultra athlete competitions, and we are very blessed to have Lael Wilcox as one of our other board members who brings us a perspective about what that end of the experiences perspective looks like. But we also have guided tours and skill building opportunities, skill building seminars and information. And we have meetup events that are more informal and less time consuming, less costly ways to bring communities together to have this kind of an experience. Together, over 50 years, we've influenced road safety, infrastructure development, access to public lands, and we need to continue to do so. Many of these things are a threat are being threatened at the moment. And Andy will tell us a little bit about his experiences, but Andy currently lives in Bentonville, Arkansas. And for those of you who have visited Bentonville, this is a window into what a community can do when it takes the opportunity of having adventures on bikes seriously and building infrastructure and supporting services around that. So that's a little bit about how I come to this, thinking about this community and this opportunity. It's a big, a broad, and ambitious statement. But part of what I have to share with you today is that we as an organization have struggled over the past several years to be as broad and ambitious as our community, as our opportunity. Since the pandemic, we have lost a significant number of our members and our donors, and many of them have simply reached a point in time when they're just not cycling as much. And at the same time, we have struggled, and we will not acknowledge this today, to recruit new members and to be as broad in our embrace of adventuresome cycling as we should be. Potential members tell us this, that we're not doing as good a job as being as broad as we should be. And that extends in all different directions. This is not just about having more gravel riders or mountain bike riders. This is about having an organization that supports everybody, including people who are riding on protected trail or riding on e-bikes. So as I think many of you know, we had a very difficult year in 2024. But let me just roll that back 1 year to let you know how suddenly this came on. In 2023, Adventure Cycling was a profitable organization, $6.5 million of revenue, $6.1 million of costs, and generating cash flow of $800,000, some of which was from PPP loan forgiveness. But even excluding that, we were a positive cash flow organization in 2023. For a board of directors for a nonprofit, that's what you want to see, stability. In 2024, things started to change very quickly. ACA saw a year-over-year deterioration of revenue of $1.5 million. Mostly came out of our rapidly declining membership and donors. It came out of a tours organization that wasn't performing as well as it had in previous years. In 24, the organization acted to reduce expenses by about $500,000 right away. But as we got towards the end of the year, it became clear that we were going to have a significant deficit. And that deficit, as you can see in our published financials, was $1.5 million in 2024. So as I stated, membership declines are probably at the root of this, but in some years, tours revenue and tours gross profit, which is one of our programmatic offerings, would soften a bad membership year. But in the post-pandemic period, as many of you probably know, demand for tours softened rapidly because many people had taken tours right after the pandemic ended. The bike industry in general has had a tough couple of years here in the post-pandemic era. And altogether, this turned into what was, I think, fairly characterized as a perfect storm. It's an overused phrase, but a lot of things went against us in a single year. Uh, so the board, what did the board do? The board acted in October of last year, about a year ago, to say we're going to have to take really dramatic actions here to reduce the expense of the organization. And we began a cost reduction program of both cutting staff costs and outside consulting or support costs. And we cut out over $1 million worth of cost in a single year. For a very small organization, a more than 20%, actually almost 25% cost in our expense base is a pretty big cut. But we had a philosophy as we went into this, and that was that we have three things that are really special. And we have had these for a long, long time. We create inspiration. That is, we publish a magazine, we send you newsletters, we send you YouTube's things that get you excited about starting that first step, that gets you out the door and gets you on your bike. We also create roots. And as I said, the roots are what got me to ACA. The roots are fantastic products. And we now publish them on both digital and paper platforms and at a level of quality that is unmatched in the marketplace. And then finally, we have experiences. We have tours and we have other educational and skill building experiences that help people to have an adventure on a bike in the safest and best possible ways. So this is important stuff. These are core capabilities, core skills, and we did not want to eliminate any of our programmatic areas because we think these are relevant, as relevant as they ever have been in rebuilding the organization for the future. So we believe strongly that as a board, I think as a staff, and now with a new executive director, that there is a path to a turnaround here, to a significant turnaround. We believe this combination of our three skills, creating roots, inspiring riders, and offering experiences are really special. No other bike nonprofit out there provides this kind of integrated value. Rails to Trails doesn't do this, IMBA doesn't do this. Many of the other organizations that you may be familiar with or even support don't do this. This is an important combination of stuff. So our challenge now is to bring this unique value proposition to a broad community, to a much broader community of adventuresome cyclists, and do it in a sustainable way. There are generational challenges here. People tend to have adventures in slightly different ways depending upon what age they're at and how much disposable income they have, how much time they have, and so on. But these three areas of capability, I think, are flexible enough that we can address the needs of many different constituencies. But let me be clear, our financial recovery ultimately will depend upon us reestablishing a balance and growth in our membership numbers. And so that's what we're really, really focused on here. So I'll come to a point that I think many of you are aware of, that in May of this year, the board listed for sale the ACA headquarters building in Missoula, Montana. And for those of you who have visited that building, you know this is a special place. This is a place that many, many, many transcontinental cyclists have visited over the years. They have their pictures there. Their bikes have been weighed on the scale. It is a real place that is felt in people's hearts. So this is a hard decision, a difficult decision. The board paid a lot of attention to what were our options here in trying to plan the financial recovery of ACA. So we have looked and continue to look and work on cash flow stabilization options that include cost reduction through further reengineering of how we do work, new fundraising methods and appeals. We're renewing our energy to attract corporate sponsorship at higher levels, and we are doing a lot of work to organically rebuild our membership. And Andy is going to tell you about a lot of new programming, so I'm not going to jump in here right now and tell you about that. But I think some of our new programming innovations here have real potential to get us into some membership, get us in with some members, potential members that we have been not as able to reach before. So cash flow really to achieve the mission to try and have more people having adventures on bikes in North America is really the point of considering a building sale. And until we have member growth, as I said, this is we have to plan very carefully what the sources of cash flow are going to be. And the time in which it takes us to rebuild membership is uncertain. So we're wrestling with a lot of uncertainty in trying to steer in these waters. So the building sale, I think, can be best characterized as a backstop to organic improvements in cash flow. You have my commitment, and I think the commitment of the entire board and staff, that we will work on every aspect of cash flow, that we are not looking for a simple solution by selling a particular asset. Many members have weighed in on this topic. I thank you for your input on this. I assure you that staff and board are listening to this. We have a diversity of opinions. We have a large group of people who support this idea that the building is an important icon, but its low occupancy and utilization at the moment is something that we need to reflect on. We also have supporters who indicate that our current staffing models of having people present in many different biking communities across the country so that we can engage with our members more easily is a good idea and should be continued. And we also have people on the other side of this who view the building as such an important touchstone that it should never be sold. We're, as a board, going to continue to work hard to find a solution that tries to balance all of these various perspectives. So what I can offer you today is that we take it seriously, we are listening, and we are working very hard. So finally, if ACA receives an offer for the building, members will have an opportunity to vote on acceptance of that offer. These are part of your rights as a membership organization, and the board and the staff intend to honor these rights in their entirety. So if an offer comes in, the board will provide members not only with the details on what the offer is, but with the most current outlook on our cash reserves and the progress of the organization on our path to recovery. So Andy has exciting things to tell us, and I'm going to wrap up the financial portion of this and turn it over to Andy. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate that background and important information for our members. And big thank you to everybody who is here on the call. I recognize a lot of names, and that's pretty great. Being the executive director of adventure cycling is something that I've dreamed of for many years. I've seen firsthand how bicycle travel can really transform people like me and places. The relationships, personal growth, and connections to these beautiful landscapes, the history, the culture that I've experienced, at least on my rides, and made a lasting impact on my personal professional journey. Many of us have probably shared some sort of mechanical issue on these rides, right? I know I'm not alone. One of my fondest ones outside of some fun crashes and things is my crank arm fell off my non-drive side, thank goodness, fell off about 3 miles from the finish of the C&O after I rode from Pittsburgh to DC, and I rode one-legged the whole way, and my legs started cramping up as I got into Georgetown. And this is before great digital tools like Ride with GPS, where our routes are. So I was scrambling trying to find that mile marker 0 when the boathouse, Thompson Boathouse, was just full of people. So if you've had a fun mechanical on a trip, feel free to share that for me in the chat. That'd be great. I've also had some great adventures like bike packing from Telluride and Durango to Moab on the hut trips, tons of weekend adventures in the Western North Carolina, West Virginia, and the Appalachians, which are a special place for me. And also, grew up in Ohio, saw a bunch of Ohio people on the call, some friends there as well, and did my first century there on the largest connected off-street paved trail network in the country in the Miami Valley. So a little bit more about myself for those of you that don't know me. I'm a father of two awesome kids, a partner and wife who's faculty here at the University of Arkansas. I've lived in a lot of states, Indiana, North Carolina, West Virginia, and just recently moved to Bentonville. So it's new for us. As you heard in my bio, I've served a lot of roles that I think will serve me well in leading this organization and supporting all the things that you as members in our community are looking for. But like John said, I really believe that our roots and that product, quality, well vetted, well-supported roots, our experiences through our tours program, and the amazing storytelling and inspiration provided by Jess and her team really are unique in this space. And it's going to be what help us chart the course forward. But there's still some work to do in some other areas. We heard from you as members that you value those things as well. Having been in the leadership team at IMBA, board chair of Bikepacking Roots, and leading those local economic development orgs focused on outdoor recreation, I definitely fully understand and appreciate and value the how all of this can be applied in a variety of settings for a diversity of riders and creating better adventures and improving our communities. Bicycle travel transforms people and places. Today, a lot of us ride in a lot of different ways. And so do I. I love to ride my mountain bike with my friends. I love to cruise the Greenway and rail trails with my family. And, you know, with the gravel route development opportunities really blowing up, it's a great way to get out in the wintertime when maybe some of the other places aren't as accessible. And we believe, and I believe, that ACA should reflect and celebrate the breadth of that membership and the way that everybody rides as well. So we're going to recommit ourselves to making ACA a bigger tent and rebuilding a balanced membership and trying new ways to have adventures and build that community. We also need to use the size of our membership and the strength of this voice of this community to make sure that we're heard. We want to continue to make progress on road safety, access to our public lands, and infrastructure, and many other topics. And we know that advocacy is important to you as our membership, and we can't do that alone. We're going to be working more closely with our national nonprofits like League of American Bicyclists, Rails to Trails, IMBA, and others, and of course, local and regional and statewide groups as well to do this work. You know, we're going to really focus to leverage our skills effectively with those organizations to collectively enhance our impact and improve our access and make sure that we have places for these adventures for 50 more years. There's a lot of stuff that I'd like to dive into, but, you know, you can definitely get into this, and I hope you do getting our emails, understand the new things. But I want to give you a couple highlights that I think are really exciting, and then I'm going to hand it over to Jess and Nikki in a little bit to talk about what is really exciting: 50 years of adventure cycling. Most nonprofits never get a chance to think about what looks like in 50 years from now. I've started a lot of them myself and I've never really fathomed that. So it's exciting. But, you know, on the routes front, you've hopefully have heard about some of the new routes that have come up. Our Vancouver Crossing Loop, our first international route. From what I am reading and understanding, it's like nearly 80% on separated paths and trails, much more approachable. People that are dreaming and wanting to dip their toe into the touring world and get out there. It's able to be done in a shorter amount of time, being under 300 miles. It includes a couple really scenic and authentic ferry rides, which is definitely something I'm trying to encourage my family to join me on here soon. The Golden Gravel Trail, an epic experience that will rival the Great Divide mountain biking route. If you hopefully are following along on social media and heard of Sarah Swallow, she is doing a preview ride right now. This is a new route being developed in actually rapid pace. It sometimes takes years for the on-the-ground vetting and work that goes into this to bring these routes to you. So we're excited to bring that one as part of the 50th. And the next, definitely last but not least, kind of new route coming up is the Klamath Mountains Loop. If any of you have been to Southern Oregon and Northern California, you understand the majesty and beauty of that landscape. This one's going to be short, like the Vancouver crossing, shorter than many of our big routes, but a lot more adventurous and challenging. We just finished the route research, and the staff really put a lot of time, energy, and on the ground work and making sure, as John said in his experience of getting lost before, that these things really are a great tool for you. These maps, and both digital and paper, are a great tool for you. Some of these routes will only be digital now, so we have so many great resources at our fingertips now that we didn't have when many of us started doing this. On our experiences side with our tours, our 2026 offerings are live right now, and you can sign up for them. We have been really excited about the response. Many of them are already full. So if you're considering joining us in 2026 on one of these routes, like the epic Great Divide, it's about half full. The Trans Am Express is already full. So those of you that are thinking about this, you might want to get your plans together pretty soon, because if you register before January 1st, you'll save money. The prices do increase in 2026. And as we've always done and worked and strived to inspire people to wherever they are in their journey, whether they're just dreaming and getting started or they're ready and to plan that next route, our inspiration work is key. Our Bike Bits newsletter's been around since we even had email, since the 90s. So it's a great tool and a great resource for all of us. The magazine that is beautiful, has beautiful content, amazing stories, is worthy of your coffee table, every issue. So we'll continue to share and celebrate all of those and our social media and other channels here going forward. Looking ahead, and some things that I know myself and the staff are really excited to continue to improve and work on here in the future, is we want to continue to develop new routes and expand our offerings to provide more options. I saw some recommendations and thoughts in the chat around different types of rides or different geographic regions that could use some more options. So we're going to be exploring those options and looking at new ways to bring those offerings in the future. We do want to, and it's imperative, as you heard from John, that we engage new riders in new ways to expand our community and strengthen our voice. Our team is already looking at how do we grow and expand our tour offerings on these current amazing routes that we have, and more together collectively with our routes team and these new routes that we are rolling out here soon. We also are going to continue to provide the resources and awareness you need to engage in really important issues that impact your access and your experience, both in your community and on these cycling adventures, in partnership with these national, regional, and local partners. Advocacy is something that's been key and core to the ACA over the years, and something we're going to continue to focus on and make sure that our community are aware of the needs for you to raise your voice and come together to make sure that we have places to do that. And of course, always looking at new ways to give you the resources, information, training, skill sets, and education to take the next step in making your next bicycling adventure become a reality. As you heard, next year's a big year, our 50th anniversary. I'm going to hand it over to Jess and Nikki to highlight multiple fun and exciting things you can expect. And our team is constantly working on things to add to that calendar. So thank you again for everybody being here. Thank you, John, for your overview and all the work you've done to help make sure that we're on the path we need to be forward. And I look forward to meeting you on all these events, and hopefully come see us in Tucson or in a drop-in ride. And if you're ever in Bentonville, please look me up. Jess, Nikki, hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Andy. That was fantastic. Loved all that information. So Nikki and I are here to talk to you all about 50th anniversary events and programs and details that we are really working hard on right now. I want to start us off kind of reiterating about the Golden Gravel Trail that Andy mentioned. Sarah Swallow just finished her ride recently. I put the link in the chat to all about the Golden Gravel Trail. It's long, it's epic. It goes from the coast to the Mississippi River and explores some really fantastic scenery landscapes. And if you haven't checked out Sarah's social media, she's Sarah J. Swallow on Instagram and has some really amazing videos and posts about her ride. We plan to launch that in January or early 2026. But yeah, really hoping for a January launch there so that everybody can get prepared for the 2026 riding season, if that's a route that interests you. The other two routes that Andy mentioned, Klamath Mountains Loop will launch in December, be about 300 miles. Some mostly road, some gravel, and will be a challenging mountain route. And then we just launched at the end of September, the Vancouver Crossing Loop, which is a family-friendly, beginner-friendly route on Vancouver Island, starting in Victoria. Really, really fun routes. We worked really hard to get those out to you, and we are launching them all for free as a thank you to our members and donors in our community for supporting these routes. It's a celebration of our 50th anniversary, and also to engage more people in adventure cycling as part of our 50th anniversary. Nikki, would you like to talk about our event in January?
Yeah. Sorry, I have a lot of things open with the Q&A here. So our first 2026 event to bring folks together will be our Jubilee in the Desert in Tucson, Arizona at Catalina State Park. We expect to have about 350 attendees. By the way, it's almost full, so register. We will have day rides, community suggested social activities, and a celebratory dinner. Looking back at 76ers, at Bicentennial, and where we've come since then. So we'll pop the link in the chat, and Jess will continue on with some other updates.
Yep. So I wanted to give you sort of a heads up about a program, our 50th anniversary program that we're launching at the end of this month. Our hoped for launch date is October 24th. It's called Drop-In Rides. And the concept is that sort of in the same fashion as Bicentennial, where 4,000 people rode part of or all of the Transamerica Trail as part of the country's 200th anniversary, we would like to celebrate adventure cycling's 50th anniversary by having people drop in when it's convenient for them, for as long as they can, on the timeline that works for them, into one of our 3 iconic routes that represents the past, present, and future of adventure cycling. And those routes we've chosen are the Transamerica Trail, the Great Divide Mountain Bike Route, and our new Golden Gravel Trail. We're going to have ambassadors on those routes. Lael Wilcox, Ryan Van Duzer have agreed to go on those routes, and you can drop in and ride with them, or watch Lael pass you as she flies by, knowing how fast she is. At least I wouldn't be able to keep up. And we're going to have bike giveaways, gear giveaways. Registration will be free. We're going to give you content and helpful articles to help you plan your drop-in ride. We're going to have give you the ability to form groups. There are companions wanted. There's going to be follow my challenge maps for the first 50 groups. You can to be able to track your ride.
Karen, you had a question about this. Karen was like, can we track cross-country riders? Yes.
Yeah. So we're in partnership and talking with that out with Follow My Challenge right now. We're going to have dot watching capabilities. I'm really excited about this. And yeah, so stay tuned for launch. Make sure that you're subscribed to our email so that you get information about drop-in rides when we launch. And yeah, and there'll just be a lot more information to communicate about that as we get closer to 2026. So Nikki, yeah, did you kind of want to just touch on Companions Wanted a little bit?
Yeah, you asked, we answered. Bring Companions Wanted back, please. So I'll pop that link into the chat for those of you that don't know. This was kind of the non-dating version of meeting up with someone to ride together. Really want to emphasize non-dating. And yeah, so that is back, and I will pop the link in the chat. But thanks to everyone's effort, when we did some tech work, it was difficult to get it going again, and we prioritized it and are happy to see folks using it.
Yeah, and that is a benefit of your membership. Members can post and but anyone can respond, so that it's a community building tool.
Jess is gonna finish with some other exciting things that we're ending the year with, and then we'll try to get to some questions verbally that we haven't answered in writing.
I will be quick so that we can have plenty of time for the Q&A. Thank you for putting your questions in the Q&A feature. Lastly, I want to tell you about some fun projects that we're working on. As some of you may know, if you flip to the back of your magazine, you will see something called Open Road Gallery. That's a picture of someone who has ridden through, stopped by Adventure Cycling headquarters, and we've taken their photo and their story. Well, as you may not know, there are 5,200 of those that are not digital, that are just kind of stored here at Adventure Cycling, that are a bit inaccessible. So we've started a project to digitize that entire collection. And people have supported this project with individual donations. We have a partner in Brooks, England, that makes the saddles, and as well as some support from the Montana Historical Society. Very exciting project. I need to get that up on the website so that you can read more about it. And we hope to make that entire collection available to the public on some sort of website. So more to come on that. It's going to take us a few months. We're hoping to finish the digitization project in May. And then lastly, we have a campaign running right now to gather your stories. It's called Adventure Cycling is Everywhere. Your stories, our stories as a collective community, are what motivates and inspires other people to try this crazy, wonderful, joyful thing we call bicycle travel. And we know that sometimes, like submitting your stories to our blog or our magazine, we kind of require a lot with that, like high-res photos and things. But with this Adventure Cycling is Everywhere campaign, we don't care if you're not a writer. We don't care if you're not a photographer. We just want to share your stories to help inspire so many others, because we really do want to show that adventure cycling has an impact everywhere. And whether that's the organization and you rode our route, or whether you didn't and you just love bicycle travel and you want to share like a route or an experience you had, or just why you think that adventure cycling changed lives. So I'll throw that link in the chat as well. So many links coming at you. And then we're going to share those stories across our channels this year and into next year. So continue to share those stories. Thank you for listening. That's a lot. Andy, do you kind of want to just wrap us up and we'll dive into the Q&A?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for the exciting things happening. So as you can see, ACA is still delivering on our routes, our tours, our storytelling. We have a lot of things excited for us. A lot of exciting things planned for our 50th anniversary. However, as you heard from John, we need your support to stay engaged, to continue to renew your membership and be a part of this movement and this sport we all love so much. And if what you heard today does excite you as much as it does us and what's going on next year, consider joining us in one of those 50th anniversary events. Please consider supporting our end of year campaign and share your stories in the Adventure Cycling is Everywhere campaign. And if you're still unsure and you have questions, we understand. We ask that you stay engaged, keep in touch, and give us a chance to show you that we're on that turnaround and things are positive. So again, thank you everybody for being here. We're going to jump into some questions that didn't already get answered. Some got answered in the chat, some are in the Q&A. So if you don't see your questions, they're over in the answered section of the Q&A. So Nikki, Jess, what have you flagged? What do you got?
Yeah, John, I kind of grouped a bunch of building questions and handed them over to you in hopes you could answer, especially Jim, your questions all at once. So a little bit more about why we decided to list the building, leasing, sale, lease back, etc.
Yeah, we'll start off with cash flow planning. As I said, we have cash reserves. We'll end the year somewhere between 1.8 and $2 million of cash reserves. We also have investment requirements. Your experience with adventure cycling right now is, in my opinion, and I think in many people's opinion, insufficiently modern. It's hard to find our roots. It's hard to engage with us so that you can understand your account. Even giving a donation is difficult technically. We have improvements to make in those areas. Andy and Jess and Nikki have gone through some of the new programming that we hope to do. But in summary, what we want to be able to do is to have programming within our three competency areas that meet you where you're at, how much time you have, what kind of riding you like to do, and around the country, so that we are a true national organization reflecting all the ways that people have adventures on bikes. So a little context that we have what might appear to some as lots of cash in the bank. In fact, given our membership dynamics and some of the things that we need to do to be the kind of organization that you want us to be, we have to have some additional cash flow in sight. That caused us to list the building for sale. And we are listing the building in a way that allows us to entertain all variety of offers. So let me just be clear about that. A lot of people assume when you list the building, we're just going to sell this on to somebody else and we won't be associated with the building in any way in the future. We have instructed our real estate agent not only to entertain outright sale offers, but to entertain sale leaseback offers that might keep us in that exact building, but in an appropriate amount of space for the 7 Montana-based employees that we have today. We have a 10,000 square foot building, so you can appreciate that 7 people don't need 10,000 square feet. We have also looked at possibilities that ACA might become a landlord and lease excess space to other people. That brings with us some complexities of operating a real estate property that, you know, really aren't our core skill and probably detracts from our ability to do more important things like bringing you bicycle related programming, but it's on the table as well. And we have even entertained even more complex options, such as dividing the building up into a set of condominiums. But that requires a zoning approval and quite a bit of legal work. So each of these have their pluses and minuses and so on. One thing that stands out overall is that we are working on cash flow on every dimension to try and bring you a modern adventure cycling that is going to survive hopefully another 50 years and represent the entirety, the totality of the adventure cycling community. And we're going to do that in a way that preserves our presence in Missoula. We will be in Missoula, whether it's in this building that we currently own or in some other building. We will be member accessible and we will have artifacts in those buildings that keep alive the history and the spirit of the organization. So I covered a lot of ground there, but that sort of looked like what was coming up in the chat, those kinds of topics.
Jess, you want to go to some other upvoted questions? I'm trying to keep track of them.
I know. So Anne has a question about how many members at the height and how many now, just a little bit more context and detail.
I'll take that one. Not happy news to impart to everybody, but 5 years ago we had 44,000 members. Today we have 23,000 members. We run an annual survey of our members. We get a very high response rate. I think this year we received something in the neighborhood of 4,000 or 5,000 responses that give us some insight as to how people are feeling about their own cycling and about our organization. I would say that the overwhelming message that came through from this is that the majority of the people who are leaving us because they are not cycling as much. And the demographics that we have that give us a sense of where our members are suggests that this is a narrow demographic in our current 23,000. Tend to be older riders. We tend to have considerably more men riders than women riders. We are missing parts of the marketplace, of the bicycling marketplace, that are very, very active right now. And I think all of us sense that we want to build a multi-generational community, a community that reflects lots of different perspectives on how you have an adventure on a bike. And so as we rebuild membership, it's not just a matter of trying to continue to appeal to the demographic that we have today. It is about building programming that allows us to be relevant and attractive to a balanced demographic going forward, and one that will have life cycle dynamics that are easier for us to work with than the current dynamics of a largely older member base that is phasing out of cycling as part of their decisions.
Thanks a bunch, John. So we have a bunch of questions that all have 3 upvotes. So I'm just gonna, do my best here. Dennis actually asked quite a number of questions. The one that got upvoted was about membership and how he's been struggling to hear from Adventure Cycling that his membership is expiring and that membership levels changed and things like that. And so experiencing some communication issues, which I feel you, Dennis. And so, it sounds like maybe some others are also experiencing maybe a communications issue or having questions around membership. So I wanted to address the communication side of things. I kind of did this a little bit earlier, but one of our main methods of communicating with our members is through email. Most members get most of our emails and really like that method of communication. I know others struggle with our emails going to their promotions folder or their spam folder, or unsubscribing without knowing that they're unsubscribing to everything that we share, or maybe not having good parameters. So we still send mailers to your actual house, but maybe we don't have the right address, or maybe you moved. A number of things can happen with communications. So I just encourage you, keep your address up to date with us, your email address up to date with us, and try to stay subscribed to our emails and our other communications as much as you can. But I also understand where you're coming from. We had a lot of technology transitions that gave us a lot of challenges in the last year and a half. So I acknowledge that if you didn't get those notices, Dennis, I apologize personally.
Jess, and I think that, I know Jim commented, oh, we're finally getting more details about the sale process, or the membership tiers changed, or again, if we have the magazine and letters to the editor have been a way that also you are communicating with us, but just keep chiming in if there are ways we could improve that flow. But as I told my mom this morning on the phone, looks like your emails are going to promotions, Mom. That's why you're not getting our member newsletter. So just a reminder there.
So yeah, Dennis, thank you for being a supporter of Adventure Cycling. Really appreciate you being here. Okay. So let's see. We have some really interesting questions around routes, and there being a lot of crowdsourced routes out there and how, adventure cycling seems to be behind on crowdsourcing routes. NOAA has actually submitted a couple of short routes with no response, and others have said the same on message boards. It seems like ACA is still paying its employees to develop routes that can be crowdsourced for free with a better sharing system with space for comments and upvoting. I love the maps and hope you keep doing them, but this seems to be an area of improvement. So we don't have a routes person with us today, but Nikki, I don't know if you want to speak to that as VP of programs.
Sorry, Jess, I was answering another question. Which
Totally
one did you say?
Yeah. Or John, if you want to answer that as well.
Yeah, I can. I've been pretty deeply involved with our routes team, and the point's very well raised. Adventure cycling has been known for the detail and the updating of its maps for many years. So we are, I think, acknowledged as having the highest quality mapping product in the marketplace. We have now brought all that capability onto digital platforms and continue to publish our most frequently used maps in paper form as well, so that riders of all different varieties and different preferences can have access to this content. Getting us digital, getting us fully digital, getting us in a deep relationship with Ride with GPS has taken some time, but we feel very confident of that relationship now, and the ease of use of our maps on their platform has improved month over month over month, and I think we're very happy about that. Now comes the next challenges, which is how do we continue to provide a very high quality map that allows you to make sure, like me, that you don't run out of water on the Great Divide in a way that leverages modern technology. As AI comes on board and as crowdsourcing continues to develop maps, I think we are going to enter kind of a period when bringing real quality to crowdsourced maps is increasingly possible, that AI can contribute to this, and that the amount of human checking, human development of points of interest and other critical route information can begin to diminish. That means more maps from a set number of resources that we have. So we're turning our attention to this. At the same time, we are trying to make sure that the maps that we do invest our time and attention in are maps that are desired by our community and taking us towards the direction of having the big tent, in which we have route product that serves lots of different subsegments within the adventure cycling community.
Thanks, John. And I'll just add, I see a couple questions related to crowdsourcing routes with our short routes program, which was scaled down this year to focus on building Golden Gravel, which was 3,700 miles. And we did so about 3 years faster than our past epic routes. So I think we'll turn our attention again. Some of you are chiming in more local, shorter, more regional, more off pavement, and we're on top of that, and that's what we want to do. And I hope you followed along with Golden Gravel as we had researchers doing different sections to chime in that crowdsourcing mentality as well. So thank you, John, for answering that.
Great.
We should definitely give Andy the last question.
Okay, there we go. Looks like Jillian, who's our tours director, answered a tours question in the chat. Be sure to go look at that. I'm trying to answer a question about the store and how we have lots of ACA merch coming as part of our 50th anniversary. So
I saw a really good one about attracting
go for it.
newer riders, younger riders, female riders, families, and of course, continuing to serve our aging demographic as well. I'll lump those all together.
And maybe add, not that if it's too much, any growing revenue. Lump it all in.
Yeah, sure. I'll try. So, I think you already heard a few of the ways the team is already working to do that. So, getting our routes out more quickly, creating our systems to be more accessible. Many of the comments you made around looking at geographic distribution of our routes, but access is a very complex process, right? So there are many dimensions of access. So the place to do it is one piece of it. So looking at more routes close to home, shorter stepping stone routes, creating that progression and levels of difficulty, right? And different types of experiences, from e-bikes to as John and I were talking about earlier, Europe has more of the luxury accommodations tied in that aren't all very, you don't have to carry all of your stuff. So having a variety of those opportunities for people. And of course, I'm very passionate about family access and programming. So making things that are making sure all of our experiences, our inspiration, and our roots all support the needs of those different audience demographics is something we are all invested in. But all of that does require support, capacity, and revenue. So we are identifying low-hanging fruit opportunities right now in our discussions on how to do that. You're seeing some of that in our new routes. You're going to see that in the evolution of our tours program. So while we don't have all the answers for exactly how we are invested in doing that, no, we have to. It's an imperative for us in order to remain relevant and sustain future 50 years of ACA going forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy.
Close it up, Jess.
Okay. Thank you all of you for participating. We are at time, and your questions are amazing. I'm sorry that we can't answer them all. We'll have some follow-up email Monday with a recording of this, and continue to be engaged. We want to do more of this. We want you to be informed of what's going on at the organization. We want you to be involved. It's really important as a member organization. So thank you for being here. And thank you to everybody, John, Andy, and Nikki for helping me out today.
Yeah, thanks to all of our members who are here and participating. This is a dialogue. I love the format of being able to come and have a webinar with members, and I hope we can continue to do this on a regular cadence, so that as a team, both as an ACA internal team and as a membership group that really is part of our extended family, that we can work this together and we can progress this turnaround at rapid pace. So again, thanks for attending. It's been a great contribution to us.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.